While her family was away on vacation, she did something no one expected. She sold her home and left for the sea. Now, let the story begin. Stay with us till the end. Dear viewers, if this story spoke to you, please subscribe and like for more real Korean stories.
The Weight of Invisible Hands. A Chronicle of Recovery. Prologue. The Language of Boxes. The boxes floated like islands in the empty living room. Yoon-hee ran her fingertips along the taped edges. They felt like punctuation marks at the end of a sentence she'd been writing for 40 years. Each box bore a label in her own handwriting: winter clothes, books, husband's belongings. The last box had no label. Only she knew what it contained. "Grandma, what are these?" Ji-woo's voice cut through the vacant space, a 15-year-old's voice that still believed questions demanded answers. "Why does the house look so empty?" Yoon-hee turned slowly to face her granddaughter. Ji-woo's face, the face she'd made rice porridge for through countless nights, the hand she'd held before math exams, wore an expression of incomprehension. "I'm moving tomorrow." The words dropped like stones, like pebbles sinking into still water. No ripples, just sinking. Taeil's footsteps echoed from the hallway. He was dragging his suitcase from Jeju Island. The wheels scraped against the floor like nails on a chalkboard. His face turned ashen. Her son's face, the face she'd first held 40 years ago, small and red and fist-clenched. Now that face was suntanned, vacation's ease still lingering in his muscles. "Mother, what are you talking about? We were only gone a week. I sold the house." The silence that followed was suffocating. Soo-yeon emerged from the kitchen, in her hands a bag of snacks not yet unpacked from their travel luggage. The bag slipped from her fingers and hit the floor. Snacks scattered. No one picked them up. Part 1. The Time Before Boxes. Dawn's Choreography. Let me take you back to where this begins. More precisely, to 5:15 in the morning. My name is Yoon-hee, 78 years breathing, 40 years wiping dust from other people's homes so my son could have clean sheets to dream on. No alarm was needed. My body remembered the time. My bones, my muscles, the nerves at my fingertips. They all remembered dawn. When I opened my eyes, the cracked paint on the ceiling was always the first thing I saw. That crack had been there for 15 years. Never fixed. This room was the smallest in the house, the darkest, the last place sunlight reached. As I pushed back the covers, my right hip creaked. The price of 40 years squatting to scrub other people's floors. My left knee ached. When winter came, I could predict the weather. My knee was my forecast. Walking down the hallway to the kitchen, I listened. Taeil's snoring from his room, deep and regular, the sound of worry-free sleep. Soo-yeon was quiet. She always slept quietly. From the children's room, Ji-woo and Seo-yeon, came small breathing sounds, the peaceful dreams of 14 and 11. Only I was awake. It was always this way. I turned on the kitchen light. The fluorescent bulb flickered before lighting. It had flickered since last year. I'd mentioned it to Taeil. "I'll fix it later, Mom." Later never came. First, I checked the rice cooker's warming button. Last night's rice. For breakfast, I checked every dawn to make sure the water hadn't dried out. Next, I opened the refrigerator. Cold air struck my face. I scanned the shelves. Jiwoo's favorite strawberry jam, Soyeon's beloved cheddar cheese, 10 containers of Greek yogurt. Soyeon insisted was all she ate. Tails preferred vegetable juice. Nothing for me to eat, except kimchi and soybean paste. I pulled out the lunch bags, Jiwoo's and Soyeon's, 2 pink bags, bought last year at the market, 12,000 won each. When Soyeon saw them, she'd said, "Kids don't use these anymore, mother, but well, they'll hold lunch at least." I began rolling kimbap. Spread the seaweed, spread the rice thin, place the pickled radish and crab stick and spinach, roll it tight. Movements repeated for 40 years. My hands moved without thought. Thinking wasn't necessary. Beyond the window, the sky shifted from gray to indigo. The color before dawn breaks. The color between the darkest moment and light. I sliced the kimbap. The knife tapping the cutting board echoed through the kitchen. Tap, tap, tap. There was rhythm, like a metronome. 6 pieces for Jiwoo, 4 for Soyeon. Jiwoo ate more. Growing up, they said, Soyeon was on a diet these days. At 11, I said nothing. Soyeon had told me, "Don't interfere with the children's business. Pack the lunches, slice the fruit. Fill the water bottles with barley tea. Rinse the tumblers. Fold the towels. Wash the plate mist from last night's dishes. Wipe the gas range. Wipe the sink." I looked at the clock. 5:40 a.m. Time to leave. The dust of other people's homes. I closed the front door quietly. Making noise was forbidden. Soyeon had said, "Mother, you're too loud when you leave in the morning." I descended the stairs. 15 floors. I didn't take the elevator to save electricity. Even though my knees hurt, I endured. Outside was still dark. Under the streetlights, my shadow stretched long, the shadow of a 78-year-old woman, back slightly curved. Steps not what they used to be. The bus stop was empty. Waiting time for the first bus. Bus number 5. The bus that crossed Incheon's old downtown, through aging houses and old shopping districts in a city not yet awake. The bus arrived. The driver nodded. He knew me. 40 years riding the same bus at the same time. "Going to work again today, ma'am?" "Yes. Stay healthy. Thank you." Short conversation. But warm? At home, not even conversations like this existed. The first house was in Donggu Songgrim-dong, Mrs. Kim's place. A 30-year-old villa, 2nd floor. The front door squeaked every time it opened. Mrs. Kim was 75, 3 years younger than me. She lived alone. Her son was in America, visited once a year. "Is that you, Yoon-hee?" "Yes, ma'am. I haven't been feeling well, so the house is a mess. I'm sorry." "It's all right." Mrs. Kim's house was small. 2 rooms, kitchen, bathroom. Cleaning took 2 hours, but I did it carefully. Mrs. Kim was always grateful. She made tea for me. In old teacups, tea she brewed herself. "Yoon-hee, you're remarkable. Still working at your age." "I have to work. To live." "Doesn't your family help?" I didn't answer. I drank the tea. It was warm. The second house was in Bupyeonggu, Mr. Park's place, a 40-pyong apartment, clean, hardly anything to dirty. But they called me every week. "The house needs to look pristine," Mr. Park said. I cleaned an already clean floor. I wiped spotless windows. Mr. Park's wife never even glanced at me. I didn't exist. I was invisible. The third house was in Gyeonggu. A young couple, a 3-year-old child, both working. "Please sterilize the baby items." Thoroughly, the young mother said. I did it thoroughly, like they were my grandchild's things. 5:00 p.m. The day's work ended. I took the bus home. My body was heavy. My back felt like it would snap. My knee was swollen. But when I arrived home, I couldn't rest. I had to prepare dinner. The transparent existence. I opened the front door. 6:00 p.m. 15 minutes earlier than Suyeon's required time. Mother, you're home? Suyeon's voice came from the living room. Not a welcoming voice, a checking voice. Yes, and dinner? I'll start now. I set down my bag and tied on my apron, washed my hands and opened the refrigerator. What's for dinner tonight? Soybean paste stew, grilled fish, seasoned vegetables, Taeil's favorite menu. Unwashed dishes were piled in the sink from lunch. I washed them first, then prepared dinner. The hand holding the knife trembled. I'd been gripping rags and mops all day, but I couldn't stop. Slice the green onions, slice the tofu, prepare the fish, julienne the radish. Mother, please ventilate the fish smell. Suyeon shouted from the living room. I opened the window. Cold air rushed in. It was November. I set the dinner table. 6:00 p.m. sharp. The family gathered. Taeil, Suyeon, Jiwoo, Seon. Thank you for the meal. 4 voices said simultaneously, mechanically, without gratitude. I stood in the kitchen corner watching them eat. I didn't sit at the table. I used to eat with them. But at some point, Suyeon had said, Mother, we'll eat together. You can eat later. Later. After they finished, with cold rice and leftover side dishes, Seon left the fish. It smells fishy. Jiwoo left the vegetables. These taste bad. Suyeon added water to the soybean paste stew. Too salty, Mother. Taeil said nothing, just ate, while looking at his smartphone. 20 minutes later, they all stood up, dishes piled in the sink. Thank you for the meal. I began washing dishes. The water was cold, my hands stung, but I was used to it. Finished the dishes, wiped the kitchen, sorted the trash, separated the recycling. I looked at the clock. 8:40 p.m. Now was my time. 10 minutes. I sat on the sofa, the end seat where the springs had died. I picked up the remote, turned on the news. Mother, turn down the volume, please. Suyeon shouted from her room. I lowered the volume. People on the screen were talking. I couldn't hear what they were saying. Bokdoli came to my feet. A 12-year-old mixed breed. A dog my husband had found before he died. My only friend. Bokdoli licked my hand. I stroked his head. At least you see me. Bokdoli wagged his tail. Part 2. The Thaw. The gaze that changed. I can't remember exactly when it started. It happened gradually, like ice melting from the inside. The surface looks fine, but inside it's already water. You don't notice until your foot breaks through. Suyeon began looking at me differently. At first, I didn't notice. It was subtle. Her gaze grew slightly colder, her voice slightly sharper. Her smile disappeared. Mother, we need to adjust the cleaning schedule, Suyeon said one day. We were in the kitchen. I was washing dishes. She was drinking coffee. Why? We're having my husband's work colleagues over next Saturday. The house needs to be perfect. Perfect. I cleaned every day. How could it be more perfect? All right. And Mother, stay in your room that day, since we'll have guests. Stay in my room, in my own house, in the house I bought. Why? It might make the guests uncomfortable if you come out. Uncomfortable. I made them uncomfortable. All right. That Saturday came. I stayed in my room from morning, listened to footsteps, laughter, voices through the door, the smell of food I didn't cook, joyful conversation I wasn't part of. At 10:00 p.m., the guests left. I came out. The living room was a mess. Empty bottles, plates, food scraps everywhere. Mother, please clean this up, Suyeon said, then went to her room. I cleaned, alone, until 2:00 a.m. The shrinking space. After that day, the requests increased. Mother, don't use the front bathroom. Use the small one in your room. Mother, please eat in the kitchen. We're having guests in the dining room. Mother, could you not hang your laundry on the balcony? It doesn't look good. My space shrank. The house I'd bought became smaller and smaller, until only my room remained, the smallest, darkest room. Even Jiwoo and Seoan began treating me differently. Grandma, Mom says not to bother you with homework anymore. Grandma, we're going out to eat. Mom says you should eat at home. Bother. I was bothering them. I began eating alone, in my room, with the door closed so they wouldn't see me, so I wouldn't make them uncomfortable. Part 3. The body's rebellion. The warning signs. The pain started in my lower back, sharp, like a knife stabbing. I ignored it. I'd ignored pain for 40 years. But this pain was different. It spread down my legs, up my spine, until I could barely stand. One morning, I couldn't get up. My body wouldn't move. The ceiling stared down at me, that same cracked ceiling. Mother, why aren't you up? The children need lunch. Suyeon's voice through the door. I can't get up. Silence. What do you mean you can't get up? My back. Mother, the children have school. You need to make lunch. I tried. I pushed myself up. Pain shot through my spine. I fell back down. I really can't. This is so inconvenient. I heard her footsteps walking away. I lay there, alone, for 3 hours. Finally, Taeil came home. Mother, Suyeon said you're not feeling well? My back hurts. I can't move. Should we go to the hospital? Yes, but I have a meeting at 2:00 p.m. Then tomorrow, I'll see if I can find time. He left. I lay there until night, until the pain became unbearable, until I crawled to the bathroom on my hands and knees, like an animal. The diagnosis. 3 days later, Taeil took me to the hospital, reluctantly. Make it quick, Mother. I have work. The doctor examined me, took X-rays, looked at the images for a long time. Ma'am, you have severe disc herniation. You need surgery. Surgery. When? As soon as possible. You've been walking on this for too long. The nerve damage is severe. I looked at Taeil. He was looking at his phone. Taeil, did you hear? Yes, Mother. Surgery. When can she have it? We can schedule it for next week. Next week? Taeil's face darkened. We're going to Jeju Island next week. Family vacation. Family vacation. I wasn't family? Can it wait 2 weeks? He asked the doctor. The doctor looked at me, then at Taeil. It could, but the pain will be severe. and the damage could worsen. Mother can endure it, right, Mother? I nodded. What else could I do? Alone in the operating room. Surgery was on Tuesday. I had to be at the hospital by 6:00 a.m. I woke at 5:00 a.m., packed my bag, toiletries, underwear, comfortable clothes, went to the living room. No one was awake, quiet. I called a taxi, went to the hospital alone, checked in, changed into surgical gown, received the 4th signed surgery consent form. Where's your guardian? A nurse asked. They can't come. Someone must be here after surgery. You'll be disoriented when you wake from anesthesia. It's okay. I can manage alone. The nurse looked at me with pity. Ma'am, you really have no guardian? No. She asked nothing more. Pre-op waiting room. Through the window, the sun rose. A red sun. Beautiful. An elderly woman lay on the bed next to mine. She looked older than me. 5 people surrounded her. Son, daughter-in-law, grandson, granddaughter, son-in-law. Mother, are you scared? Hold my hand. It's okay, Mom. It'll be over quickly. Fighting, Grandma? They took turns hugging her. She was crying, but they were happy tears. I was alone. A nurse came. Miss Yoonhee, it's time to go in. I stood up, entered the operating room, lay on the cold table. Cold lights, cold air. The anesthesia injection went in. The doctor said, count to 10. 1, 2, 3. The world went dark. Awakening. I opened my eyes, saw the ceiling, white tiles, fluorescent lights. My mouth was dry, my throat hurt, my back felt strange, not painful because of anesthesia, but something felt unnatural. I turned my head. A hospital room, 4 beds, people in the other beds. Each bed had a guardian. By my bed, no one. I looked at the clock. 4:00 p.m. 5 hours since surgery ended. The door opened. A nurse entered. Miss Yoonhee, you're awake? How do you feel? Water. No water yet. I'll moisten your lips. She moistened my lips with a cotton swab. It felt cool. I called your guardian, but they haven't come yet. It's okay. Did you write the contact information correctly? Yes, but they didn't come. 6:00 p.m., 7:00 p.m., 8:00 p.m. Other patients ate dinner with their families, laughed, talked. I stared at the ceiling alone. I took out my phone, sent a text to Taeil. Surgery went well. I'm okay. A reply came. 1 hour later. That's good. Rest well. That was all. Part 4. The Truth Overheard. Voices in the Night. Discharge was on Sunday. 2 weeks hospitalized. I endured alone. The nurses were kind. Ma'am, you're amazing. They said, doing everything by yourself. I wasn't amazing. I had no choice. I took a taxi home. My back hurt. Every step stung. But I endured. I opened the front door. The house was quiet, clean. Someone had cleaned. They must have hired help. Mother, you're home? Soo-yeon stood up from the living room. She'd been watching TV. Yes. Did the surgery go well? Yes. So when can you start housework again? That question. Only 2 weeks since surgery. The doctor said not to strain myself for a month. Soo-yeon's face hardened. A month? What are we supposed to do? Hire help. Do you know how expensive help is? 200,000 won a week. That's 800,000 won a month. 800,000 won? The value of work I'd done free for 40 years. I'll recover quickly. Please do, Mother. We're struggling too. I went to my room, lay on the bed. My back throbbed, but I couldn't sleep. Night deepened. Everyone slept. I got up to use the bathroom, walked down the hallway, carefully, silently. Then I heard sounds from Tail and Suyeon's room. The door was half open. I stopped. Honey, it was Suyeon's voice. We need to talk seriously. About what? About Mother. I held my breath. Mother is really restricting our life. My feet froze. What do you mean? We can't invite friends freely. We have to watch out when we eat out. Mother is always here. I was always here. In this house. In my house. And she keeps interfering. With the children too. Interfering. Helping grandchildren with homework. Taking care of them when sick. That's somewhat true. Tail's voice. I couldn't believe it. My son. So what do we do? Silence flowed. My heart felt like it would burst. Honestly, Suyeon said, we'd be much freer without Mother here. Freer without me. What about a nursing home? I hear there are good ones these days. Nursing home. They wanted to send me away. To abandon me. That's a bit. Tail hesitated. Think about it. Mother would be happier with people her own age. And we'd be comfortable too. People my age. Because I'm 78. Because I'm old. Because I'm useless. I'll think about it. Decide quickly. I'm really struggling. I forgot about the bathroom. Returned to my room. Closed the door. Sat on the bed. My hands trembled. My whole body trembled. 23 years. In this house. For this family. In the house I bought. Next to the son I raised. I was a burden. An obstacle. An existence they wished would disappear. That night, I didn't sleep. Part 5. The Reckoning. Dawn's different light. 5:15 a.m. My eyes opened as they always did. But the ceiling looked different. The crack was still there. The paint still peeling. The room still the smallest and darkest. But I saw it differently now. This wasn't my room. This was the room they'd given me. The room they'd allowed me to occupy. In the house I'd bought with money I'd earned scrubbing other people's floors. I sat up slowly. My back protested. The surgical scar pulled tight. I ignored it. I walked to the desk. Opened the drawer. Inside was a folder. Red. Old. I'd kept it for 23 years. The deed to the house. In my name. Only my name. I pulled it out. Ran my fingers over the embossed seal. My husband and I had bought this house 40 years ago. A small apartment then. 2 rooms. We'd saved for 15 years. Every coin counted. After he died, I'd sold it. Bought this bigger house. For Tail. For his family. So they'd have space. So the grandchildren could have their own rooms. The sale had been in my name only. The purchase in my name only. This house was mine. But somewhere along the way, I'd forgotten. Or maybe they'd made me forget. Made me feel like a guest. An unwanted guest. I looked at the deed for a long time. Then I knew what I had to do. The phone call. I waited until 9:00 a.m. Called the real estate office. Hello, I want to sell my apartment. Of course. Can you give me the address? I gave it. Ah, that area. Nice location. The market is good right now. May I ask why you're selling? I'm moving. I see. Would you like us to come for an appraisal? Yes. Today, if possible. Today? That's quite urgent. Yes, it's urgent. All right. How about 2:00 p.m.? Perfect. Thank you. I hung up. My hands were steady. No trembling. For the first time in months, my hands were steady. The appraisal. The realtor came at 2:00 p.m. sharp. A young man. Professional suit, kind smile. Miss S. Park? I'm Agent Kim. Please come in. He looked around, noted everything. The size, the light, the view, the condition. This is a good property, well maintained. Excellent location near schools and subway. How much? Given the current market, I'd estimate around 800 million won. Maybe more if we find the right buyer. 800 million won. My life's work, my husband's work, are combined 70 years of labor condensed into a number. How quickly can you sell it? Are you in a hurry? Yes. He paused, looked at me carefully. If you're willing to price it competitively, 2 weeks, maybe less. Do it. Miss S. Park, may I ask? Does your family know about this? They will. I have to advise you, selling a family home can be complicated. If there are other residents, the house is in my name only. I checked. Only my signature is needed. He nodded slowly. All right, I'll prepare the papers. When would you like to sign? Now. The planning. After he left, I sat at my desk, made lists, things to do. 1. Find a new place to live. 2. Sort belongings. 3. Arrange movers. 4. Update bank accounts. 5. Transfer utilities. I called a rental office, found a small studio, 1 room, kitchen, bathroom, clean, bright, windows facing south. How much? 500,000 won per month. 10 million won deposit. I'll take it. Don't you want to see it first? Is it clean? Very clean. Windows? Large. Good sunlight. Then I'll take it. I wired the deposit that afternoon. The sorting. I began sorting that night. Quietly, while they slept. What was mine? Surprisingly little. Clothes. A few books, photos, the red folder, my husband's things, his watch, his reading glasses, his favorite coffee mug. Everything fit into 3 boxes. The house was full of things. Furniture I'd bought, dishes I'd chosen, curtains I'd hung. But they weren't mine anymore. They belonged to this house, this life I was leaving. I packed the boxes, labeled them, stacked them in my closet. Then I packed 1 more box. This one I didn't label. Inside, letters from my husband, letters from Tail when he was young, photos of family birthdays, report cards, baby shoes, first drawings, all the evidence of love I thought I'd built. This box I sealed tight. The lawyer. On Wednesday, I visited a lawyer. I want to make sure this sale is legal, that no one can contest it. The lawyer reviewed the deed, my identification, the purchase history. Everything is in order. The property is solely in your name. You have every right to sell it. My son lives there. His family. Are they on the deed? No. Then legally, they're tenants. Do they pay rent? No. Then they're guests. You can ask them to leave with reasonable notice. Reasonable notice. 23 years wasn't reasonable. How much notice? Legally, 1 month. But given the circumstances, perhaps you could give them more time to find a place. 2 weeks. The lawyer looked at me carefully. Miss S. Park, may I speak frankly? Please. I've handled many cases like this. Elderly parents, adult children, ungrateful families. You don't have to tell me why, but I can see it in your face. I said nothing. Whatever your reason, it's valid. This is your property. Your right. Thank you. Just one more thing. Do you have somewhere to go? Yes. Good. That's the most important thing. Too many elderly people leave with nowhere to go. I stood to leave. Miss S. Park? Yes? I hope wherever you're going, people treat you better. The buyer came on Friday. A young couple, both doctors, expecting their first child. This is perfect, the wife said, touching her pregnant belly. Space for a nursery, good schools nearby. When can you move in? Her husband asked the realtor. The seller is looking to close quickly. How quickly? 2 weeks. Perfect. We're renting now. Our lease ends in 3 weeks. They signed the contract that afternoon. Full asking price. No negotiations. 800 million won. Minus the realtor's fee. Minus taxes. 720 million won remaining. More than enough. The final days. I didn't tell them. Not yet. I continued the routine. Made breakfast. Packed lunches. Cleaned. Cooked dinner. But I did it differently. Not with resignation. Not with the weight of obligation. I did it knowing each time was the last time. The last breakfast. The last lunch. The last dinner. Suyan complained about the soup. Too salty, mother. I smiled. I'll remember for next time. There would be no next time. Tail asked me to iron his shirts. 10 shirts. For his work trip, I ironed each one carefully. The last shirts I'd iron for him. Jiwoo asked for help with math homework. Grandma, Mom said not to bother you. It's not a bother. I showed her how to solve the equations. The last homework we'd do together, Seon asked me to braid her hair. Make it pretty, Grandma. I braided it carefully. The last time I'd touch her hair. The Jeju trip. On Monday, they left for Jeju Island. A week-long vacation. Just the 4 of them. Mother, we left money for groceries. Suyan said, don't spend too much. All right. And please deep clean the house while we're gone. We'll have guests when we return. I will. They left. The door closed. Silence. I looked around the empty house. My house. Not my house anymore. I called the movers. I need everything moved by Sunday. This Sunday? That's 6 days. Yes, it's possible. But it will cost extra. That's fine. They came Tuesday morning. 3 men. Strong. Efficient. What do we take? Only the boxes in the small bedroom. Everything else stays. Everything? The furniture too? Everything. Ma'am, are you sure? Yes. They looked at each other. But they didn't question further. They loaded the boxes. My 3 boxes. 5 boxes total. My entire life fit into 5 boxes. The unlabeled box I carried myself. The new home. The studio was on the 3rd floor of a quiet building. No elevator. I climbed slowly. My back hurt. But I climbed. I opened the door. Sunlight. So much sunlight. The room was small, 1/3 the size of my previous room, but the windows were large. The walls were white. The floor was clean. I put down the unlabeled box, stood in the center. This space was mine, only mine. No one to tell me to be quiet, no one to hide from, no one to make uncomfortable. I could breathe. The movers brought up the other boxes. Where do you want these, ma'am? Just inside is fine. Thank you. Do you need help unpacking? No, thank you. They left. I unpacked slowly, hung my clothes, arranged my books, placed my husband's photo on the windowsill. We're home, I told him, really home. The letter. On Saturday, I wrote a letter, pen on paper. My hand cramped, but I wrote, "Tail." By the time you read this, I will have moved. The house has been sold. The new owners will take possession next Monday. I know you will be angry. I know you will call this unfair. But let me tell you what's unfair. Unfair is working 40 years to buy a house, then being told to stay in my room when guests come. Unfair is raising a son for 40 years, then being called a burden. Unfair is having back surgery alone, then being asked when I can start housework again. Unfair is overhearing my own son discuss sending me to a nursing home. In my own house, the house I bought, the house I paid for, with decades of cleaning other people's homes. You may think I'm being cruel, leaving you without warning, selling the house while you were on vacation, but I gave you 23 years of warning, 23 years of service, 23 years of love. You didn't notice. I'm not asking for your understanding. I'm not asking for your apology. I'm not even asking you to remember me fondly. I'm simply taking back what was always mine. My home, my dignity, my life. The money from the sale will allow me to live comfortably for the rest of my life. I will not be a burden to anyone. I will not be invisible in my own home. I will not be an obstacle to anyone's happiness. I hope you find a nice place for your family. I hope the children do well in school. I hope Suyeon finally feels free. As for me, I have found something I thought I'd lost. Peace. Your mother, Yoon-hee. P.S. I'm keeping Bokdoli. He's the only one who ever really saw me. I sealed the letter, left it on the empty kitchen counter. The last morning, Sunday morning, 5:15 a.m. My body still woke at dawn, but I was in my new home, my studio, my sunlight. I made tea, sat by the window, watched the sun rise. No kimbap to roll, no lunches to pack, no dishes to wash, just tea and silence and sunlight. Bokdoli curled at my feet. He'd adapted quickly. He was happier here too. My phone rang, ignored it, rang again, ignored it, again. Text messages came, one after another. I didn't read them. The phone rang continuously. Finally, I answered. Mother, where are you? What have you done? The house. There's a for sale sign. What does this mean? Tail's voice, frantic, angry, confused. I sold it. You sold? Mother, you can't just sell. We live there. It was my house, but we're your family. Read the letter. What letter? On the kitchen counter. Silence, footsteps, paper rustling, more silence. Long silence. Mother, you can't. This is... Goodbye, Tail. I hung up. The phone rang again. I turned it off.
She thought selling the house would end everything, but the emptiness followed her into the city. Every night, her son's voice echoed in her mind, like waves that would not fade. One day, she stopped answering his calls and decided to leave. In the next story, she sets out for the southern sea, where time moves slowly and warmth still lives in the hands of strangers. There, she meets Emma, an immigrant who shares Korean food to remember where she came from. As the wind and sea teach her how to breathe again, forgiveness will finally find its way home. Episode 2. The Sea Remembers Everything. Stay tuned for the next episode. It's coming soon for you.